Hey guys, this is Squiddyvon, and welcome back to .GameTV. In this video, we'll be continuing my full breakdown of the Starfield gameplay shown at Microsoft's Xbox June showcase, with Part 5 taking a look at Outpost and Spaceship Building. Make sure to check out the first 4 parts in the series. There's a playlist on my channel page so you can easily watch them all in one shot. Also make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of the remaining parts of my full breakdown series and tons of other Starfield content. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's start with the Outpost building. Starfield won't be Bethesda's first attempt in buildable structures, as previous games like Fallout 4 included settlement building mechanics. To me though, it always felt clunky and unimpressive. From what we've seen of Starfield so far, it definitely looks like Bethesda has vastly improved upon their old formula to give an experience that is cleaner, more functional, more customizable, and honestly just looks pretty dang cool. You can see in-game that anytime we are using our scanner, we have the option, in this case on an Xbox controller by hitting X, to start the outpost building process. Also of note, it looks like we may be able to only make 30 outposts, which is also the same number shown when scanning in the Creek gameplay. We don't know if this 30 outpost limit is per planet, or if we only have 30 outposts total we can build in the game. It could even differ being on a moon versus a planet. We just really don't know yet. Our player in this case is on the moon Vectera, as seen in the heads-up display, and after hitting X to start building our outpost, you can see the outpost name, Vectera Outpost 1, and a build limit in the bottom left. In the top left, we can also see that our outpost beacon has integrity, so it may be possible our beacon can be attacked or damaged, or some other action that causes it to lose that integrity. We can also see in the bottom right options to move the beacon, toggle view, which I'm guessing toggles from first person to an isometric view, and also buttons for clearing and exiting build mode. You can also see the amount of cargo being held at your outpost, as well as the size of the crew complement. Lastly, you can see the amount of power your outpost has, as well as stats for resource production per minute. You'll also notice off in the distance we can see a highlighted yellow line, which likely indicates the limit of how far we can build from our beacon. When we go to the isometric view for our outpost editor, you can see the name of the outpost has been changed, so we can likely change the name of our outpost to whatever we like. We also now see the build requirements for selected parts in the top left, like this Science Hab Small, which has specific building requirements of aluminum and iron. There will also be power operating costs, so power management will need to be taken into consideration when building. We now have new options available to toggle distance mode and to scroll through variants of different components. At the top right, we can see different structures are available to build, in this example including Outpost Airlock, 4-Wall Hab, Hydroponic Hab A, Science Small, Military Hab, Hydroponic Hab Round, Small Hex Hab, Hallway Industrial, and Watchtower. It also looks like there may be other categories besides structures, but we unfortunately don't get to see anymore in the limited gameplay. I really do like this isometric view being available. We'll still probably have to do some more checking from a first-person view on the ground to make sure things look the way we want, but this generally makes things way easier to design and lay out than, say, Fallout 4. We also get a view of whatever this Axion energy component is supposed to be, maybe as the name suggests, something to do with power and energy, which is quickly followed by these power turbine-looking structures. It looks like these outposts can be really expansive, with multiple types of storage for different resources, and I love the watchtower that you can now see to the right. This seems like pretty much a necessity for an outpost built on a world with a view. We also learn that you can even hire characters you meet to come work at the outpost to keep the operation running. We don't know what the phrase "characters you meet" means yet, but I do hope there is some good variety in the crews we can hire and that they aren't too generic. So while it looks really cool, and this is definitely Bethesda's best attempt yet, outpost building was pretty much expected in Starfield. What wasn't so expected is to be able to build your own spaceship. Now, let me say up front, there are still a ton of details we don't know when it comes to Starfield and spaceships, but from what we've seen so far, this is way above and beyond basic customizations. Spaceships will have fully functional interiors our player can freely walk around in, which was semi-confirmed in this screenshot we have from the spaceship flying section, where you can see there are button options to get up from the cockpit and move about your ship. The interiors are incredibly detailed, but still hold true to that NASA punk aesthetic, where it's function over form. Like Outposts, we'll be able to hire crews to operate our spaceships, and perform different tasks, like you can see with this full research lab on board, as well as what looks like a military command center. Now, I've always been a big fan of Star Trek, and the idea of being able to choose and customize the exact crew and purpose I want my ship to have is honestly a dream come true. In addition to choosing our crew, we can completely customize the look and layout of the ship, as shown in yet another isometric editor. It looks like there is a Weapon 0, Weapon 1, Weapon 2, Engine, Shield, and Gravity, which will be ship stats that we will have to balance, so the faster, further traveling ships won't be able to have the same firepower as a slower ship. We can also see there is a reactor power that we will have to compensate for, and each module of the spaceship has its own stats, cost, and mass. You can also see toward the bottom the specific stats for lasers, ballistics, and missiles, which likely correspond to the weapon slots for energy distribution. We also have stats for hull, shield, cargo, crew, jump range, mobility, top speed, and mass. I also like how they kept the old naval positional terms like port and starboard to describe the ship, again tapping into my Star Trek nostalgia. There are tons of different modules and ship manufacturers, each with their own individualized stats. For this White Dwarf 1000 engine, you can see it's in Class A, has an engine thrust of 1550, maneuvering thrust of 815, engine health of 48, and a health of 100. Other components include grav jump fuel tanks, weapon modules, and cockpits. We also see that trying to use certain parts can give us warnings and errors, which will occur when choosing components that are too heavy or we don't have enough power to equip. Some of these components also require specific skills to install, like this ion beam H1010 reactor, which requires starship design. And as if all of this wasn't enough, you can even change the color of these different modules to give your spacecraft the exact look you want. Honestly, these spaceship building mechanics are just so much more than I think anyone was expecting. It looks really cool. One thing we don't know is exactly what the size limit will be for these ships, which is something I'm sure I'll find out, because the ship I think I'm going for with my first build is going to be about as big and slow as you can make it, but with enough weapons and shielding to make up for that lost mobility. Definitely let me know in the comments what ship you guys are planning on building, and what kind of modules you're looking forward to most. One last thing I'll say here is that the module system looks like an absolute dream for modders, as there will be tons of different custom modules that will be later added to the game. So that about does it for the outpost and spaceship building mechanics we've seen in Starfield so far. Make sure to stay tuned for part 6 of my full breakdown series, where I'll be talking about space flight and the spaceship combat. Like I said before, make sure you're subscribed to the channel for that update and tons of other Starfield content. And let me know with a like or a dislike if you enjoyed the video. That's all for now, guys. Stay tuned for more Starfield. This is Squiddyvon, and this is .GameTV.